had so much high regards for the saintly people. So she bowed down to them and says, "Oh, I am so fortunate that you have come to my doorstep. Can I serve you something? Can I offer you something?" So the sadhus understood that this is not the place for us. But since she had offered obeisances, pranams, since she had offered to serve sincerely, they were very pleased with her. And they saw that she was pregnant. So they said that, "My dear child, you will have a baby boy. We can see that. And when you do get this baby boy, please call him Narayan. Call him by the name Narayan." So she said, "Okay." And then they probably left and went to another place in the same town, found a Brahmin or a Vaishnava's place. But when her husband, Ajamil, when he came back, she was very happy giving the news that, "Oh, you don't know, today we had 4 great sadhus. They come to our place and they told us that our 10th child, we are going to have a baby boy." Oh, Ajamil said, "Wow, that's great." And here they also said, "We should name him Narayana." So he said, okay, whatever. You're the one taking care of the kids. So whatever name you like, I don't care. See, this person who was a Brahmin, who was every day chanting 1,000 Sahasra Vishnu Nam, 1,000 names of Narayana, he didn't even bat an eyelid when he said that we should name him Narayana. I don't care. Name him what you want. You see how his consciousness was degraded. Completely degraded. So now he's almost 80 plus. Narayana has become maybe a year and a half old. And he's starting to crawl all over the house. And one day while Ajamil was resting, suddenly he saw that there are the angels of death coming towards him, Yamduts. They were extremely horrible, horrific. The hairs were like hot copper wire. Their eyes were blasting like red coals. The description is given. Horrible. Most horrible than what you see in a horror movie. And they were coming with a lasso, a rope. What do you call that in Dutch? Lasso. The cowboys, they catch the cows. Lasso?
Yeah.
And the lasso was meant to catch the soul from the body and drag him and take him to hell. Because of all the 60 years plus of impious activities, that he had sins that he had committed. That was a long list that they got from Yamraj, the chief of the death, the god of death. So as they came, he saw and he screamed and he passed urine and stool simultaneously. And his eyes popped wide open in shock. And his little son Narayana, the last born, was playing on the floor. And he screamed his name, "Narayana!" Just like something happens in the house, supposing somebody's cooking in the kitchen and some hot thing falls, immediately they call out the name of the person who is in the house, right? Either the husband or the daughter or the son. So he called out his son's name, Narayana! And as soon as they were going to grab his soul, 4 beautiful personalities from the spiritual world, from Vaikuntha, came and stopped them. Stop. Now you cannot take this soul with you. They said, "What? Who are you? I know you guys look so beautiful and handsome and very, amazing. But this is our duty. Our boss has given us a big list about all the different sinful activities, lying, cheating, raping, prostitution, and so many long list is there. So, we are only following the orders of our boss. So we cannot go back empty-handed." So these Vishnuduts, or the angels of heaven, or the spiritual kingdom, they told them, "Look, my dear friends, I understand that you have a boss, but we also have a boss. And our boss's name is Narayana or Krishna. And our boss has said that anybody at the time of death utters my name, whether it is Krishna, Govinda, Rama, Narayana, any name of mine they utter, then they will not go to hell. You bring them to me. So they said, oh yeah? You think that they uttered your boss's name? They uttered that boy, his name is Narayana, the little boy playing on the floor. He uttered his name. They said, yes, we know. But even though, knowingly or unknowingly, if my name comes on the lips at the time of death, my boss, Krishna, says that day you have to bring him to me. They will come to me. And if you don't believe us, there is a few more things I want to tell you. Anybody, no matter how sinful they are, if they wear the tulsi mala, kanthi mala, if they have the tilak, if they have tulsi in their mouth, or if they have sipped the water of the Ganges, sipped the water of the Jamuna, you cannot touch them. They belong to us. Krishna thinks that this is my family member, even though he may be a number one rascal, but he is mine. Just like some people have pets, and sometimes the pet, you open the door, runs out. And that pet runs out, and sometimes he does a lot of bad things, like chews on somebody, or somebody's bags, or somebody's leg, or bites somebody. And ultimately, what happens when the owner comes, sees the collar, and says, this is my dog. Oh, but your dog did this. That's okay, I'm very sorry, please forgive him. And he takes the dog back. So even we are like dogs when we behave like that. We are horrible, but if we have the dog collar, Prabhupada called this our dog collar, the country is. So we should wear it. But we should not knowingly commit sins after wearing kanti. Not that now because we have heard Ajamil's story, Krishna is not a fool. He will forgive us, no doubt. But he is not a fool. We should not take advantage of that. Unknowingly it happens. Sometimes even the greatest of the devotees, they fall down. They do. Krishna says, so api cheda duracharo. There are some of them devotees who fall down, and there are durachars. They act in such a bad way. But I still consider them as sadhus. That is Krishna's quality. But that does not mean that we should take advantage of that. That's the main point. So he says, you go, you ask your boss, not only taking the name, but these things that we have told you about tilak, kanthimala, etc. So he said, okay, I know you all come from a very good place and we can take your word. Don't take him away until I come back and ask my boss. So they go back to Yamaraj empty-handed. And they tell Yamaraj, my dear boss, we came back empty-handed, although we had a long list. And they qualify for the worst punishment in hell. This person, Ajamil. So what happened? Why did you come back empty-handed? Well, this is what happened, and they narrate the happenings. That as he was dying, he called out the name of his son Narayana, and these four wonderful personalities came from somewhere, and they stopped us, and they said they were Vishnu Dutas. They are the servants of Krishna. And they said, we have no jurisdiction anymore. Is it true? And they also said that anybody wearing kanthi mala, the beads with the tulsi, wearing the tilak, all these, is it true? So Yamaraj said, yes, it is true. Now we have no more jurisdiction over them. So the point being, coming back to my original point, at the time of death, whatever your consciousness is, but somehow or the other, if you are able to take the name of Krishna, you will be transported to Krishna. But a word of caution, whatever we have done all our life, whatever we have done, that's the only thing that we will be absorbed in at the time of death. Somebody will say, oh, thank you very much for letting us know the formula for going back to Godhead, going back to Krishna, going back to the spiritual kingdom. I can do all the nonsense I want. Thank you. This is my last satsang, and I will do whatever I want. No problem. And Krishna also said in the Bhagavad Gita, if you call my name out, you will come to me. So I will remember that when death comes to me, I will say Hare Krishna. That will not come. Practically speaking, even when we find, even within our devotee, practicing devotees, something suddenly happens, you get into an accident, you fall down. Very few people say, oh Krishna. But many people say other words. Sometimes even bad words. Huh? Sometimes the S word, etc. I don't need to spell it out. Huh? So, the point is Krishna consciousness. That is why the Satsang is made, so that we can prepare for death. It sounds very crude, it sounds very awkward, but the fact is that whatever satsang we do, this will be hopefully our last life if we do it properly, and we will enter into the eternal kingdom of God. Even Jesus said that. Jesus talked about two places. A lot of Christians don't really see what happened is when we studied the Bible and then we studied the Vaishnava scriptures, we saw a lot of common things. And a lot of common things is, Jesus was also saying heaven, that is Swarga. And he also said kingdom of God, that is Vaikuntha. He used two different. And he also said to his disciples, I have yet many things to say, but you do not have the ears. That means there is a higher spiritual science, much more higher, but right now you are not ready for it. So you just take this gradually and become a good human being. That's what Jesus' goal was. As a matter of fact, we heard that Jesus went to the Himalayas and he was meditating for 30 years. And there was some books about how he got enlightenment also and how he's meditating on Krishna. It's very interesting. Because Jesus disappeared for quite some time. Maybe not 30 years, but it was maybe over a decade. I can't remember the exact number of years. And then he suddenly came back. He was gone for several years in between. And then when he came back as a very good guru, as a preacher. And the baptism, etc. He got baptized by John the Baptist. That is initiation. Just like we have initiation. And then Jesus initiated through his instruction to his 12 disciples. So the point being, Satsang, coming back to our original subject. When we associate with spiritual minded people, it will take us to the eternal kingdom of God, to eternal reality, to eternality. And that is the reason why we should continuously associate. And when we get these good things, study it, chant the holy name nicely. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Everybody's either hungry or sleepy. Which one is it? Loudly, please. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Such a beautiful, wonderful Maha Mantra. Mantra means what? One means mind and Tra means Trayati. Trayata means to deliver. We have so many problems. We are crazy after so many problems that one after another they keep coming. Either it is health or family or business or job or school. So many things. And Tra means mana, means to deliver the mind. When we chant the holy names, not only this holy name is Maha Mantra, the greatest. Because it will not only deliver you of your material problems, but it will also deliver you permanently from this material existence and take you back home, back to God, to the spiritual world. When we are addressing Hare means Radharani, Krishna's principal internal energy. Oh my dear Radha, Radha, Hare. That is the consciousness we should have. Krishna, my dear Krishna. Just like sometimes we beg, or beggars are begging. Give me, Krishna, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Ram means, oh, pleasure giver. There are so many pleasures in this material world that don't give me ultimate pleasure. No matter I go to big parties till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and the next day is lousy. It is not so pleasurable after all. And then I do that again and again and again and again. Again, and still I don't get that pleasure. So, oh pleasure giver, Rama. Ram means one who gives pleasure. Please give me transcendental pleasure, eternal pleasure. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I am engaged right now in serving all these different people in my life. But for what? Chapala Sukha Lavalagire. Vajahu Remana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charnar Vindare. Edhana Yavana Putra Parijana Itheki Ache Paratiti Re. Edhana, all this wealth, this family members, my son, my daughter, all the family members, none of them are really helpful to me. Bhajahum Hariva. Jivana Talamala Kamala Dalajala. This life is like water beads or water, water drops on a lotus leaf. When it rains and there is a lotus flower or even a normal flower, if the water is there, how much time can the water stay on it? Barely a few seconds. The water falls on the waxy leaves of a flower, it immediately trickles off. So Jivana Talamala, life is like that little drop of water on a lotus flower. Any moment it will fall. Bhajahum Haripada Nidire. Therefore, I worship you, O eternal personality. Satsang. That will take us to the eternal home, eternal father, eternal husband, eternal friend, eternal master. That is the meaning of Satsang. And that is why we are here. We should chant the holy name and give it to others. That is the magnanimity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, our Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was situated so nicely in Vrindavan, completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness, completely spiritually blissful. But why did he come at the age of 70, leaving, going through so many difficulties, coming on a steamship, coming to New York, Boston, without any money in his pocket? He didn't know where to go, left or right. He had 35 rupees, $7, that he writes that doesn't even last in a big city like New York for even one day. Nothing. But he said, my Guru gave me that instruction. You have brought me here, Krishna, because you have some work that I have to do for you. To give Krishna consciousness, to give the best, to give the people who have forgotten who they are, to give the people who have forgotten the relationship with God. We are not sectarians. This is a universal principle of the soul. It is not Hinduism. It is not some kind of ism. It is purely on the platform of the spiritual soul and God. I sometimes get the opportunity to meet many people and we discuss interfaith, like the Christians, the Muslims, etc. I've attended many interfaith meetings. And we listen to them very nicely, we get information. And some of the things that I present is also because I learn from these people about their own faith. But I always, when it comes my turn, I present Krishna consciousness in the given number of minutes or time as much as I can. But I end my statement always by saying that Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, said that everybody fears God. We are taught right from our childhood, those who are believers, we are taught you have to fear God. But our Prabhupada taught, don't fear God, be God loving, love God. There's a difference. Loving someone means you build an intimate relationship. Fearing sometimes someone means you have a distance. Like you fear your boss, or you fear some minister, or you fear somebody who is in a very high position. You cannot go to his house so easily, or you cannot sit with him and have lunch or dinner with him, or you cannot call him, make jokes with him, or call him different funny names. But Prabhupada said that we love Krishna so much and Krishna loves us so much that we will sit with him and we will enjoy with him. And sometimes Krishna will even be punished if he's naughty. When we are playing games like boys and one of the boys loses, then the same punishment. In Vrindavan, the Gopas used to be Krishna's friends. So what? Your father is the king of Vrindavan. And I am only a poor Brahmin. Madhu Mangal used to say that. But you have lost Kana. You have lost the game. So now you catch your ears. And you sit up and down 20 times. Just the punishment like others. That is intimacy. That is love. That is prema. So I tell them that by the mercy of our gurus, our acharyas, our predecessors, they have given a lot of information about God. A lot of detailed information. And if anyone who is sitting in this room can give me more information about God, I am very glad to take it. Because I want to know God more, I want to love God more. We just don't call him by the name God. We have so many wonderful names of God depending on his activities. We call him Gopal because he takes the cows to the field and he's tending to the cows. Therefore he is known as Gopal. Right? So many different names. We call him Govind because he gives pleasure to the cows. And Go also means our senses. When we chant sincerely, when we are in Kirtan, when we are hearing Hari Katha, it gives us so much pleasure. Vind means pleasure, and Go means senses. So one who gives pleasure to his devotees is also known as Govind. We call him Yashodanandan. We know who your mother is, Krishna. You are the son of Yashoda. Like most people in other faiths, they call God. That's it. They don't have any other word besides God. Nobody calls Jesus, O son of Joseph, O son of Mary. Jesus would love it because here you are not only glorifying him, but you are glorifying his mother also. Krishna loves that. Call him Nanda Nandan. Nanda Nandan. Nanda Nandan means the young boy of Nanda Maharaj. Call him Gopichana Vallabha. That you are the most dear to the gopis of Braj. So many different names of Krishna. And Krishna loves them. So we have so much information about God. Who his parents are, who his friends are, who his lovers are, who his servants are, who his cows are. Krishna has names for his cows. Dhuli, Pishangi, Dhauli, Kali, Yamune. Special cows Krishna had. What Krishna likes, we know he loves butter. He will go crazy and steal. Now somebody will think, what kind of God he is that he will go to different people's houses and open the fridge and take the butter? Huh? Very difficult to understand such concept. It's a very, very high concept. So if somebody can give us more information about God, gladly we will take it. Until then, we are humbly presenting you about God, then take it please. And the best means of realization of God in this age of Kali Yuga is by chanting his holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any comments? We can try to answer. Yes?
Today is Ekadasi.
Mm-hmm.
Please explain a little bit about Ekadasi.
Okay. So, Sundari Mataji is asking about Ekadashi and explain
What is Ekadasi?
what is Ekadashi. The Vedic calendar has got months just like the English calendar. We also, in the Vedic calendar, also have 12 months. But every third year, there is an extra month that is known as Adhik Mas or Purushottam Mas. But otherwise, 12 months are there. In the Vedic calendar, the year is 360 days is a year. In the English calendar, it is 365. Not much of a difference. And also, we have 2 fortnights in a month. The waxing moon and the waning moon. Right? So, once or twice in a month, once during the waxing moon and once during the waning moon, what is known as the 11th day Uh, Eka means 1 and Dasha means 11. Das means 11. Das means 10.
Thus.
So 10 plus 1 is 11. So Ekadash. So today is the 11th day of the month of the, I think it is the waning moon right now. On the Krishna Paksha. Krishna means dark. Krishna, because Krishna is dark, the color of Krishna. Krishna also means dark. Krishna Paksha. And like that, there are, every month there are 2 Ekadashis. And these are the special days, the days of the Lord, Madhav Tithi. Madhav means Krishna and Tithi means the day that is very dear to Krishna. Madhav Tithi. Madhav Tithi Bhakti Janani Jatone Palana Kori. Bhakti Thakur, one of our acharyas, Prabhupada's guru says that Madhav Tithi, this day that is very dear to Krishna, is Bhakti Janani. It is the mother of devotion. Mother of devotion, that means the root of devotion. Bhakti. Jatane Palana Kori, and I will follow this Ekadashi and these other fasting days, like the appearances of the Lord are also known as Madhav Tithi. Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Vaman Ekadashi, Vaman Dwadashi, it's combined. Different days, those are Madhav Tithis. And on these days are meant specially for doing more austerities, to chant the name of the Lord more and more, to hear about Krishna, to read about Krishna, and to minimize our bodily needs. The idea is that on Ekadashi day, we should ideally, our Shastras tell us, we should ideally not eat anything. Not even drink water. Nirjal. That is actually the most ideal situation. But Krishna is very kind. He has actually given provision through the scriptures that at least the least one should do is, even if you are hungry and if you cannot fast, you should not eat beans and grains. Beans and grains should be avoided. Scientifically also, time is very less, otherwise this whole Ekadashi can be a seminar by itself. Beans and grains also are good from the bodily perspective. If you stop twice a month, it also kind of regenerates your body from your anatomy of the body itself. It will help you physiologically. Now, how did Ekadashi come about? It is said that in some Satya Yuga, many millions and millions of years ago, Krishna had a fight with the demon Mura. That is why one of the Krishna's name is Murari. Ari means enemy and Mura means the demon. Demon. So again, see, we also know who Krishna fought with. You ask somebody else in other faith, do you know who God fought with? I don't know. You ask anybody who Allah fought with? They don't know. You ask anybody who God fought with? They don't know. But we know details. We know God's friends, we also know God's enemies. Therefore, he is known as Murari. Another name of Krishna is Madhusudan. He killed another demon by the name Madhu. Madhu and Kaitav, they were 2 brothers. So, he was known as Madhusudan. Sudan means to kill. So, one who killed the demon Madhu. He is also known as Keshi Daman, or Kaliya Daman rather. The demon Kaliya who resided in the Jamuna, Krishna subdued him. One of the names of Krishna is Kaliya Daman. So many different names. Anyway, so once he had a great battle with the demon. Who was that? Mura. After fighting with Mura, Krishna displayed the pastime or leela of being very tired. And he decided to go into a cave and rest. And while he was resting, it is said that Mura came inside, or it was maybe another demon, I can't recollect fully, but another demon came and he found Krishna in that cave, and while he was resting, he wanted to kill him. So, suddenly, from his body came out a beautiful demigoddess, beautiful Devi, and she had wonderful weapons in her hands, and she had a good fight with that demon and killed the demon. And then when Krishna woke up, he saw, wow, this is my other enemy, that demon who wanted to kill me. Who killed this demon? And with folded hands, this wonderful Devi said, it is I, my master, who did it. I did not want your sleep to be disturbed, so I came out of your body and I killed this demon. So Krishna said, I am very pleased with you. Please ask a boon. Please ask me something. So she said, my dear Krishna, what can I ask you? There are so many millions and millions of souls suffering in the material world. Can you please, when they have so many sins, they will end up in hell, and it will be a very, very bad condition for them. So to help them, please, forgive their sins and find a way where they can find atonement for their sins and their sins can be cleansed. So Krishna said, since you appeared from my body today on the 11th day of the month, from today your name is Ekadashi Devi. And anybody who fasts on this day will attain liberation. So, at that time, because again, everybody is under the protection of Krishna, Papa Purush, sin personified, came to Krishna and said, look, if these people don't sin, then I thrive in a place where there is sin. I survive in a place where there is sin. Now you're taking away my whole source of survival. How will I be alive? How can I live? And I am also, you are the master of the entire creation. And even I am your servant in one sense. So you have to tell me a place where I can live. So Krishna says, yes. You can live in the grains and beans on Ekadashi day. That will be your residence. You can live where people are gambling, where people are committing illicit sex, where people are eating meat, and where people are getting intoxicated. In such places you can live. That's your shelter. So, this is the concise version of Ekadashi. One should follow this very nicely. If you don't do anything else, if you just follow Ekadashi in itself is very beneficial. Today is Vaman Ekadashi. Today Lord Vamandev appeared. And today is also known as Parasva Ekadashi, where during the beginning of the 4 months, the Chaturmas, Krishna or Vishnu Narayan goes to sleep. It's called Yoga Nidra, transcendental sleep. And today, just like we sleep on one side of the bed, and sometimes we change the other side, today he changes his side. Parivardhani Ekadashi, Parvas Ekadashi. So there are wonderful, actually every Ekadashi has a Mahatmya, meaning importance. And today's importance is the wonderful pastime of Vamandev, how he liberated Bali Maharaj. Do we have time to narrate that pastime, Mother, or shall I stop here?
Yes, Prabhuji, take your time.
Okay. So, it so happened, in the Treta Yuga, there was a demon king, Daitaraj, known as Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj had performed a lot of penances, a lot of tapasya, to please the Lord. And then he became extremely, very, very, very powerful. Now he was a devotee also. The qualities of the devotion came because Bali Maharaj's grandfather was a great devotee. Does anybody know who he is? Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad is the father of Virochan, and Virochan is the father of Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj is the grandson of Prahlad. So because Prahlad Maharaj was a great devotee, we sing the prayers, right? Narsingha prayers. Namaste, Narsingaya, Prahlad, Lad, Daine. One who gives great pleasure to Prahlad. So, being a devotee here, he was devoted, but he still had these material desires of being very powerful. So he attained that. He was so powerful that he had conquered all the heavens and also Indra. He had actually tied Indra up, the king of heaven. So now Indra and the demigods or the Devi Devatas were very fearful of him. So they approached Krishna and they said, look, this is the thing. And he comes from a demoniac family, you should do something about it. So Krishna promised, okay, I will be born and I will save this issue that Indra has. Etat chausha kalapunsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indra Ari Vyakulam. Bhagavatam says that Krishna, you are the Supreme Lord, you are the only Bhagavan. And your amshas, the expansions, meaning Lord Narayana, etc., Vishnu. Indra Ari Vyakulam, those who are the enemies of the demigods or Indra, you are an enemy of them. So Indra said, and the demigod said that you have this Bali is our enemy, and you have to help us. So Krishna says, okay, I will be born as the son of Kashyap and Aditi. So he's born as a dwarf, very very sweet dwarf boy. What is dwarf in Dutch? Dwarf. Dwarf. Okay. Right. So he was born as a very, very cute baby boy, like a dwarf, not a baby boy, but a dwarf. And he appeared as a Brahmin boy. And he said, he assured his mother Aditi, who was the mother of Indra, his brother, don't worry, I will get back his kingdom, I will get back the peace. So he takes the form of a Brahmin boy, and he goes to Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj respects Brahmins. He says, please come, my dear Brahmin. And whenever a Brahmin comes at your door, a Vaishnava comes, one should always, the culture is give something, like a donation, flowers. Even if one doesn't have money, the least they can do is offer a nice seat or a glass of water. That is Vedic culture. Money is not everything, but it is the respect that is shown to the Brahmins. It is respect shown to God when you respect Brahmins. Because Brahmins are the mouth of God in the universal form. Krishna says, Go Brahman, it is said that Krishna is the Go Brahman Hitaichara. He is the well-wisher of the cows and the well-wisher of the Brahmins. Brahmins are very dear to Krishna. So when he appeared there in front of him, Bali Maharaj said, I want to give you something. Please ask me, oh Brahmin boy. I can give you land. I can give you lots of wealth. I can give you so many. I can give you fame. Whatever you want, just ask me and I will give it to you. So, this Vaman Dev says, Bali Maharaj, I am a very satisfied Brahmin boy. I don't need much. Just give me 3 pieces of land. 3 small footsteps. Well, just enough to put my footsteps of land. And he started laughing and making fun of him. You are an innocent Brahmin who doesn't even know what to ask in front of a big king. All you are asking me is 3 footsteps of land, when I can give you so much more. He says, no Maharaj, that's all I desire. Please give me that. And promise me that you will give me that. Now his guru was watching. Bali Maharaj's guru was Shukracharya. He knew who this person was. This is Vishnu. And he warned Bali Maharaj. Bali, this is not an ordinary Brahmin boy. He is asking for 3 steps of land, but he will take everything from you. Be warned. Don't give him that. You can give him something else. But Bali Maharaj said, no. If it is Vishnu, then he can take it anyways. He is all powerful. And if he is not Vishnu, then he cannot do anything to me. So in either case, I have to promise. And then he asked his guru, or rather Vamandev asked Shukracharya, are you going to make the sankalpa? Sankalpa means you take a few drops of water in your hand and you promise. That is the Vedic way, that I will do such and such a thing. So that becomes like an official promise, a formal promise. So then, since Shukracharya didn't want to do that because he knew who Vishnu is, then Vamandev said, okay, no worries, he doesn't want to do it, I am a Brahmin, I can do the sankalpa, I can help you do the sankalpa. So he took the water from his pot and he was about to put it in the hands of Bali Maharaj, but no water would come out of it. No water would come out of it. Because Shukracharya, the guru of Bali Maharaj, he was a big materialist yogi. He knew a lot of yogi tricks. So he had entered that pot and he blocked the hole of that pot because he didn't want Bali Maharaj to officially promise by taking the water in the hands and making sankalpa that I promise you that I will give you 3 footsteps of land. Because if he had taken the water and he done that, it was finished. He cannot turn back. That is the Vedic system. So then, of course, Vamandev, who is Krishna, he knew that Shukracharya played that trick. So he put a little stick inside the spout where the kamandal is and he poked in it. And then, when he poured out, blood came out. Because the stick went into Shukracharya's eye. And Shukracharya from that time point onwards, he became blind in one eye. So the significance of our Acharyas explain that anybody who stops you from worshipping Krishna, from worshipping Narayana, from devotional service, whether even if it is your own guru, you should reject him. And such people, whether it is your family members, your brother, your sister, or whoever, they are like Shukracharya. If they stop you from doing devotional service, they will eventually become blind in one eye. It's a curse. So you should reject it. So Bali Maharaj actually, it is big. One should not disobey the order of the Guru. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Kori Agya Aur Na Kori Ho Mane Asha. We sing that in the Guru Puja, right? Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, whatever the words that emanate from the mouth, lotus mouth of the Guru, Chitte Te Kori Agya, I will do it with my full heart. I will follow every instruction. Aur Na Kori Ho Mane Asha. I will not have any other desire. But there is an exception. If that guru teaches you to go against Krishna, then you can reject that guru. Just like Bali Maharaj did that. Bali Maharaj took the sankalpa and he said, yes, okay, take the 3 pieces of land, oh Brahman boy. So then immediately Vamandev, who was so short, he was a dwarf, he became huge like a giant. And with his first step, he covered all the lower planetary systems, the hellish planets. With the second step, he covered the earth and all the heavenly planets. So in one Brahman, or in one universal system, 14 planetary systems are there. Middle is the earthly planet, and there are 6 heavenly planets and 7 hellish planets. So in the first 2 steps, he covered the entire universe. So then he said, my third step. So he tried to, with this action, Krishna knew that Bali Maharaj is his devotee. And sometimes devotees get very proud. So Krishna sometimes wants to teach them a lesson. And what more auspicious lesson can it be when Krishna personally comes and teaches and gives him darshan? So then, you promised 3 footsteps of land. There is the third one. Because Bali Maharaj had actually practically, he was the king of the entire universe. Even the heavenly planets he had captured. He had become so powerful. And that was the main reason why Indra, his brothers, and the other Devi Devas were scared. And they prayed to Krishna that you come and do something. So then he bowed down, knelt, and says, my dear Krishna, hey Vamandev, please put your third foot on my head. So Krishna is very pleased, and he puts his foot on his head. And anybody who attains the lotus feet of Krishna, how fortunate that personality is. And our Acharyas explained why Krishna did this one. Because he was a very, very dear devotee, Prahlad. It was his grandson. So one of the things that we have to understand from this pastime also is that if we become good devotees, even though our family members sometimes may not be Krishna conscious, or they may be completely demoniac, or they may be of different natures, Krishna is very kind. He will also deliver them. He will also show his grace to them. But first we have to become first class devotees in order for Krishna not only to extend his mercy on